Hello and welcome to the Bundesliga Show, the predictions version of your double header, your regular Thursday night double headers now. As you can see, I'm joined by Rory as well, who's just done his first shift, obviously, on the fantasy show. So, yeah, back for double action with Rory tonight. Yeah. For those of you that are new checking in, don't forget to, like, comment, subscribe on the channel as well. I know a lot of you watch the double header on the Thursday nights as well, so don't forget to keep doing that. We've had really good numbers, and we're quite happy with the how it started, this kind of experiment for the double headers on Thursday evenings. Don't forget as well, as you've probably already seen on the Fantasy Show, we are sponsored by Bundesliga Boxes and Covert Football Trips as well. Rich's fantastic companies over there in the UK. You can get all of mostly they base on Bundesliga and Serie A. But if you're interested in, getting your friends a travel version of a football trip, then contact Rich and he's going to sort it all out for you over there. Don't forget, we're also in partnership with the Evergreen Bully News as well. Obviously, I believe Runa's been at a game tonight as well. So, yeah, I'm sure he's quite pumped as well over there, and you'll get a lot of good feedback on the site. The best English Bundesliga site in written form on the internet, basically. So check it out for all of your news, Bundesliga related. But obviously, we're here for the predictions. It's Matchweek 4, obviously really starting to get into the season a little bit now, aren't we? I like the regular games, the regular weekly fixtures with no kind of disruptions. Obviously, we've had a full Champions League schedule as well this week, haven't we? So, yeah, obviously teams really starting to get fixed now, stable teams, stable starting 11s, and a bit of rotation going on as well within the game. So that could potentially play a part in this weekend's fixtures. So let's start on Friday night. And Rory, it's a game that's obviously quite close to your heart and quite a good looking one on paper as well, really. I mean, it's two teams that, well, we could say Pauli are a good footballing side this year, really, can't we? I mean, obviously last year it was very pragmatic, to say the least, really, under Alexander Blessing, wasn't it? But go on, because I know you don't like doing it, I'll let you lead out on the VfB this time again. So go on. Difficult game, obviously, Friday night under the lights. What are you going for?
Yeah, firstly, wasn't actually expecting to be joining you tonight, although it is always a pleasure. Sadly, Cam was having some internet issues and not able to connect up. So I have joined the party, which I'm, of course, very happy to be doing. Predictions then for Friday night, a team seemingly struggling, the home side. My boys haven't quite hit their straps quite critically, both ends of the pitch, struggling to score, struggling to keep clean sheets, with a lot of transfer business relatively late in the window. We're yet to see the best of what VFB can do. Losing Voltemada, of course, losing Undav at the same time to injury, not very timely, and Pauli playing some great football. We've given them huge credit on the show a good few times already, and rightly so. So yeah, I can see this being quite an entertaining game. Hopefully, if VFB show their best colours and get back to playing that exciting football. I think one thing that the VFB Americana lads said on their pods this week was it was very safe. It was very negative football against Freiburg, which I, seeing the highlights, agree with. So if we go back to what we do best, I can see us definitely scoring goals. So I'll still not super confident. So maybe I'll throw in a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one to tip, this one, because normally you would say, a VFB win in this kind of fixture, but this season looks a little bit different. Don't forget that Pauli did win this fixture last season as well. It was one of their best wins of the year, I think, just before Christmas, actually, last year, and they won via a 1-0 win. So they'll fancy turning the VfB over here, but I do think the VfB will be better, as you say. I think they've been quite poor so far this season, if I'm being honest with you, Rory. they don't look as good as they've been, obviously, certainly 2 years ago when they produced that unbelievable season, but also at times last season as well, when, you know, the likes of Voltemada really lit the league up. So I've also gone for a 2-2 here, Rory. I just feel as though it'll be a good game. I think both teams have kind of got nothing to lose in a way in this one. I mean, obviously, Pauli have started really well. It's that early stage of the season, and we don't quite know where teams are going to be, which part of the table they're going to be in. So I've gone for a 2-2 here, which I think both teams will probably take right now, in truth, considering that Pauli have started so well. So, yeah, let's move on to the next game, which is another one, two informed teams really now, isn't it? Werder Bremen against Freiburg. Obviously, both had marquee wins last week, really. Obviously, the first wins of the season. Freiburg, you know, were pretty good, all said and done, against Stuttgart. I think the substitutes made the difference, and I'd like to see some of them get a bit more game time in this game as well. I think Matanovic is an improvement on Hurler. I mean, how long can they keep rolling Hurler out and expecting him to do a job? You know, I mean, he's overperformed for years really now, but has made a slow start to this season. As for Werder, I guess the big news will be whether Victor Boniface starts. I think Stefan did come out and say he's not quite 100% yet, but even an 80% fit, Boniface might be fancied against his Freiburg side so far this season. But I guess they'll still go with the same system unless he's fully fit. I think they'll start him on the bench again. But Bremen, things are looking up for them again now for me. I think they look at a better team. The late signings really have paid off, you know, and I feel as though they're going to get another win here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Bremen win, but it should be a decent watch, this one. Rory?
Yeah, interesting game that we've got here. Two teams that will be feeling a lot better about themselves. Freiburg in that Stuttgart game were the better team. Obviously, they had a big finish to the game, obviously, which, you know, really sparked. And I think a lot of that was linked to some very poor substitutions by VfB's Sebastian Hoeneß, some unnecessary ones. Freiburg have had the edge in this contest. I think they've won 4 of the last 5. They won 5-0 against Bremen last time out. Obviously, it'll be a tricky game away from home. And for that reason, I am going to then sit on the fence. I'll go 1-1 with this game, I reckon. Can't separate the sides.
Yeah, definitely not the easiest one to tip, is it? So let's move on to another game, which is between, you know, two sides you wouldn't say have exactly set the league alight. Obviously, Augsburg have had pretty hard fixtures, in truth, haven't they? As for Mainz, they've not picked up the first win yet so far. So, Rory, lead us out on this one then.
What I've seen from the FCA so far this season has been a mixed bag. Obviously, their outing last week against Pauli was so-so. You know, what they showed in glimpses against Bayern, you know, at home it was, you know, in part quite good as well. You know, I like what Wagner has brought so far, and lots of energy on the sidelines, which is obviously quite entertaining as well. Mixed bag from them. Similarly with Mainz, we knew that there would possibly be a bit of a drop off for them. I think the main objective really at the start of the season was to make sure that they got into Europe, which is mission accomplished. Which is great. Now it's just about how they settle into the season. You know, lost, you know, to Leipzig, which any team can do. Of course, they'll kind of measure themselves up against that sort of quality of team these days because they have high expectations. I know the signing of Hollerbach has been spoken about, and has he got an injury recently? So that's obviously been an issue as well. So all of that links to me sitting on the fence for the 3rd game running, I think.
Wow.
So Could easily say a home win, but I'll say 1-1 again.
Yeah, these kind of games at this stage of the season, they're not easy to predict, are they? Because we still don't really know what kind of part of the table these two teams are going to be looking at really this season. As you say, I think Augsburg started the season with that brilliant 3-1 over Freiburg, but obviously they faced 2 defeats, but they weren't exactly bad in either of those defeats. Obviously, one is against Bayern. So, I mean, the way they've come out this season, I mean, a 1-goal defeat is a good result, really, to be honest, in that match.
Yeah.
And then Pauli, I felt they'll have been disappointed to lose that game because it was 2 set pieces. You know, the defending wasn't really Augsburg standard, really, in that match, which is a little bit worrying because obviously, yes, Torp had kind of built them on an extremely solid defense, which barely conceded at times last season. And the defense hasn't quite been on the same level for me so far this year, with a bit more expansive style, maybe. So I've also gone for a 1-1 draw here. I feel as though Mainz a little bit better than the 1 point they've garnered so far this season. They will want to get that first win because you don't want to leave it weeks before you get the first win, do you? Because that never normally ends up being a good season. And Mainz have done that a couple of times since we've covered this show, Rory. They've gone like 7, 8, 9 games without a win at the beginning. And it's made them a little bit difficult over the course of the season. So I've gone for a 1-1, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a winner either way in this game, to be honest. But I feel as though a draw is the safest result. So TSG versus Bayern. I mean, this is probably, some would argue, even the 2 best teams in the league so far this season. You know, I think obviously Hoffenheim with 2 impressive away wins, you know, at Leverkusen and Union. Weren't quite as impressive in the last home game, but I think they ran it up against a very strong Frankfurt side that day who played pretty much the perfect system. As for Bayern, I mean, is there a better team in Europe than them right now? I mean, they really are looking that good, aren't they? It's, you know, a lot of people are starting to say, again, this is the best Bayern team since they won the Champions League the last time they did it. So I think it looks strong. Defensively, they still make a few errors, but I guess when you play such an expansive football, you know, you're always going to make the odd error because you're leaving your defenders exposed a little bit when they're often like around about the halfway line, aren't you? So as for Hoffenheim, I think there's been a lot of standout performance from them. The likes of Aslani, the likes of Burger, the likes of Abdullah, who just look really, really good. Toure. So they are going to cause this Bayern defense problems. But I just feel as though basically the Bayern attack is just on another league to the rest of the defenses in this tournament, unfortunately. So I think this is going to be a good game. There's going to be goals. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Hoffenheim take the lead in this one, but I've gone for a 4-2 Bayern win. I think this is going to be a high scorer and an entertaining game, but ultimately Bayern with that front line are just going to be too good. Rory?
Sorry, being distracted by the fact that Frankfurt went 1-0 down, but now 3-1 up against Gala, which is great news for us Bully followers. That's great stuff. Yes, to this game. Obviously the last season didn't go well for Hoffenheim, conceding 9 goals and scoring none against the German champions. But they can pull up some trees. And I mentioned it on the fantasy show a little bit earlier. They did get that quite famous 4-2 win 2 seasons ago to end the season. So there's definitely something to be said that they'll be able to have a good old go. They're in a better position to do it so far this season, as we've seen in the players that you've mentioned, Mark. Obviously, the fact that they're at home, it should at least have more fans in the stadium this time around because it's Bayern, but not the most intimidating atmosphere, I guess, Bayern will face. Bayern obviously coming off the 3-1 win against Chelsea, which was in Germany, so there's not much in terms of travel, nor would there be even if they were in England, to be honest. So I'm not too worried about Bayern in that sense. As you say, they're going from strength to strength. Don't see company doing too much in the way of changing things. Altan mentioned slightly earlier that there might just be the odd possible change at centre half, which is entirely fair because I think that's obviously been the one slight area of wobble this season. But I agree with you, it'll be a away win. I'll say 3-1.
Yeah, so go on, I'll let you lead out in what we're billing as one of the biggest matches of the weekend, really. Two winless sides, probably most people saying the two worst sides in the Bundesliga, potentially. So HSV versus Heidenheim, Rory.
HSV Heidenheim, yes, the basement battle that we've got this weekend. Really important for both sides to get off the mark as soon as possible, get that winless, kind of thing off their back. Obviously for Hamburg being at home, second dress rehearsal after the Derby day didn't go as planned with Pauli. Naturally, all newly promoted teams need to try their hardest to be really strong at home. And of course, that's the case for Hamburg as well. Be interesting to see, particularly how they line up, from at the top end of the pitch. Again, a bit of a conversation piece that we had in the fantasy show just gone. Whether it's Königsdörfer, Vieira, and the youngster Rossing Lelisit. We've got Dompe, potentially to come into that team. Paulsen, I'm not sure if he's injured or not. I have to double check whether he's unavailable. Just says that he's inactive. Not sure about Paulsen. Either way round, for the away side, Heidenheim, losing to Dortmund is fine. 2-0, no disgrace at all. Couple of glimpses here and there, I think. Obviously, they played Dortmund and Leipzig and Wolfsburg, who are a useful side. So, their games that they would expect to lose so far, but the fact that they've only scored one goal is troubling. As if Zivadze's straight red is a problem, even though he's not exactly pulling up trees anyway. Maybe there's an argument for Ibrahimovic to live up to his namesake and start banging in the goals. He looked semi-dangerous against Dortmund at the weekend, just gone. But either way round, I get the feels for HSV in this one, with the atmosphere that they'll have in stadium in Hamburg. So I will say a nervy but entertaining 2-1 win.
Oh, interesting one. Yeah, I've gone the other way, Rory, in this one. I just feel as though, yeah, it's very, very hard to tip because there's just not enough goals in either of these sides. I mean, it would be easy to say the 0-0, to be honest, but Bundesliga just doesn't really do 0-0s, does it? It's just not that style of football. I think both teams will try and employ an attacking philosophy in this game. Both will see it as a winnable fixture. So that should ensure that the game doesn't finish 0-0. I mean, over the whole course of the season, we rarely see more than like 7 or 8 0-0s in the Bundesliga, to be honest. Yeah. And there's not many of them, that's for sure. So I feel as though Heidenheim have got that little bit more experience at Bundesliga level, haven't they? And I don't know, even though Hamburg probably have better players on paper, a lot of them are very new to the club. The likes of Vieira, obviously, he made his debut last week, but barely even touched the ball really against Bayern, in a dominant loss. So this game kind of reminds me of when Heidenheim went to St Pauli last year. Do you remember on the opening day and they won there 2-0 through, I think it was Cienzia and Paul Vanna. Obviously, neither of them are currently at Heidenheim, but as you say, a lot of people are talking up Ibrahimovic, but I saw the show on the fancy, and I think obviously Ultan fancied Ibrahimovic in this game. So I'm going to take his word for it. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Heidenheim win, which is not what Hamburg fans are going to want to hear, but they just look toothless, don't they? And I think, Paulsen, it seems though they're not going to use him very much from what I've seen so far. That it seems like they want to kind of build a team around Königsdörfer, but he's never really been a player that I've massively rated, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Heidenheim win there. So yeah, an interesting Topspiel as well. Obviously, we don't see that many Topspiels in East Germany at RB Leipzig, do we? But obviously, the fact that Koeln, a resurgent Koeln side, are rolling into town has given them that Topspiel. Again, another one that should be a good game because it's two sides that look as though they're going to be playing attacking football this year. Obviously, Leipzig more on the ground. I think Koeln is quite direct style of play, a lot of balls into the box. They're a big team, Koeln, aren't they? They've got a lot of guys that are well over 6 foot in that team. So they are going to cause problems for the RB in this game. And RB, I felt as though they showed pretty good stability to beat Mainz away from home last week. I think that kind of got glossed over a little bit. It was a decent win for them to go and win at Mainz. Koeln also won at Mainz as well earlier in the season. So this is like the two teams that have won away at Mainz so far. I was going to say that Koeln will stay unbeaten in this one, but I just feel as though Leipzig are going to put on a bit of a show in this one because it's under the lights. It's a Topspiel. So I've gone for a 2-1 Leipzig win here. But again, it should be a good encounter. Two teams that are scoring goals at the minute and creating chances, Rory.
Yeah, I think one really important thing that you picked up with Leipzig is that they've kept 2 clean sheets in their last 2 games, really tightened up after shipping 6 in one game, obviously on opening night, but against the team that have been attacking really well, with the likes of Thielmann, Kaminski, and Bulter and co. El Mahala off the bench. They'll be well tested, and if they're not on their game, they will concede some goals. I've no doubt. So yeah, it should be an entertaining game for a Topspiel. I'd like to sit on the fence again, but I'm not going to. I will go with you and say a 3-1 home win for Leipzig.
Interesting. So yeah, moving on to Sunday's games. The first one is going to be obviously Eintracht Frankfurt, who are currently an impressive 3-1 lead at halftime over Galatasaray, hosting a Union Berlin side who, let's say, have faded quite a bit since that opening win over Stuttgart on the opening day. So Rory, who's going to win this one?
Yeah, the home team look good. They were disappointing. We probably all felt a little bit let down by their performance against Leverkusen last time out. Certainly, at the moment, banishing those demons with a seemingly strong performance. Look forward to watching the rest of that when we come off the show and seeing if they can do the rest of the job. Obviously, this is the first, Champions League match week, so there shouldn't be too much issue in terms of being overstretched. They're at home currently, and then they're at home again. So again, no travel issues to kind of think of in that sense. And Berlin, you're right, have very much petered out. After their opening day win against Stuttgart, at the same time, if you remember correctly, obviously Anza scored a couple of belters and Renault was man of the match for Berlin. Not saying they didn't deserve it, but Stuttgart could have well easily won that game as well, or very minimally taken a point. And then you're looking at it a lot more negatively the start for the Berliners. So I don't expect much in the sense of, unless they start fast and get maybe a counter-attacking goal. But I very much expect Frankfurt to have a lot of the ball, control the game. And if Frankfurt can also get off to a quick start, I think the game will be settled quite quickly. So I will say a 2-0 to the home side.
Yeah, we sync up in this one, Rory. I just feel as though Frankfurt have got too much quality. I've seen that Chanuzon has got yet another goal as well tonight. He's just absolutely killing it. I think, it's great to see him one side from a Nuremberg perspective, the fact that he is now Champions League goal scorer and everything, even though we're jealous that we don't have him in our team as well. But yeah, it's great to see. There's a lot of good players in this Frankfurt side, and I think they've done a good rebuild, to be honest. After obviously selling Ekitike, for the money, they've invested it well. a lot of players have developed as well. The likes of Christiansen, Larson just keep getting better. Still hoping to see a bit more from Chaibi this season. He seems to have gone a little bit quiet, doesn't he? But overall, it's a strong team. Doan, Union, yeah. My worry for them is that defensively they look quite weak, don't they? Like normally you think Union is always a strong defensive team. This year, I think Anza has been a bright spark. Obviously, he's got 3 goals already this season, which is good numbers for the youngster. But defensively, it's just not working out for them at all. I mean, obviously, Dookie was linked with a leaving. I think Leiter was linked with leaving as well. So you have to question their motivation maybe a little bit. I think Querfeld has fallen off form a little bit. He's had quite a poor start to the season, truth be told. So they need to tighten up defensively because that's always been their strong point. You know, it's always been a case of 1 goal, particularly at home, was enough to win a game. But from what I've seen so far, they're going to need 2-3 goals minimum to win games. So they're not going to do that against Frankfurt. So I've gone for a 2-0 as well. I think Frankfurt might be a little bit below par, considering the fact they've had this big game tonight, which I guess is a raucous atmosphere there at the Commerzbank Arena. So I guess it might be a little bit of a case of like after the Lord Mayor's show, you know. But I still think they should have enough to be what is looking like a pretty poor Union side in truth. So I've gone for a 2-0 as well. So yeah, another Champions League side in action against one of the strugglers too, obviously Leverkusen Gladbach. I mean, I caught the last half an hour of that game today, and it was pretty chaotic, to be honest. I mean, both sides were really going for it. Copenhagen will consider themselves unlucky not to have won that game, in truth, because, you know, they scored what looked to be the winner, I think, after 86, 87 minutes. But then Leverkusen, you know, with Echeverry was quite impressive too, by the way, in that second half. He had a good game and kind of helped them get level in the stoppages of that match. And another free kick from Grimaldo, by the way. Wow, he's just flying again now, isn't he? He really is. And in some ways, he seems to have like gone back to his form of the first season, the title-winning season, doesn't he? I think the fact that he's now basically like along with Patrick Schick, he's like the main man basically for them now, isn't he? And I think he's kind of reveling in that a little bit. A few people were shocked that he even stayed, really, because you know, I guess he was linked with bigger clubs back in Spain, and you know, with such a mass exodus, it would have been a surprise that such a good player they managed to keep. But they did keep him, and he's been unbelievable so far this season. And as a result, I just can't see Gladbach doing very much in this game, to be honest. I think they look poor, very, very poor. Obviously, Gerardo Sioane was fired earlier in the week. What can you say about them? They've just not got much of a goal threat right now, and they have a poor record against Leverkusen too. They've taken a lot of beatings again, home and away, against Leverkusen in recent years. So I've gone for a 3-0 in this one. I think it'll be a bit of a washout, this one, to be honest. Rory?
Yeah, not too much more to add. Leverkusen, they'll want to make the most of a really good opportunity to get 3 points, 3 more points on the board in the Bundesliga. After the Frankfurt game and obviously this midweek trip over to Denmark, but yeah, Gladbach aren't pulling up trees. We don't know yet what the head coach situation is. A lot of obviously names being linked, but albeit I've been off social media a lot today because of work, but I've not seen any more news. So with all that considered, I will say, 3-0 as well. I think can't see past Leverkusen, and like you say, the record stands up for itself as well. Couple of wins recorded for Leverkusen last season. So yeah, pretty comfortable for the home side for me.
Yeah, and then let's finish off with obviously the Signal Iduna Park between Borussia Dortmund and VfL Wolfsburg. So go on, Rory, I'll let you lead out on this one.
Well, both clubs have been involved in some pretty exciting draws in the last couple of days. Obviously, Wolfsburg's late show with FC, although a game which they thought they won, which they then ended up losing those 2 extra points, which they'll be disappointed about, of course. The Dortmund game, obviously, it was absolutely wild midweek, with Juve 4-4, 4-2 up, absolute madness of a game. Just so very Dortmund-like, sadly. Strong showing, though, so far in the league, throwing out that 3-3 draw with Pauli, which was an exciting game. Given the fact that they're at home, they'll probably feel more angry with themselves about that 4-4 draw. And so I think the emotions and motivations will be higher than ever. So at Signal Iduna Park, I think they'll be cheered on to a Sunday evening victory against the VfL, although I think it will be a good game. Can maybe go for something exciting like 3-2 to the home side.
Yeah. I mean, it was very Dortmund-like, wasn't it? First of all, the raise in performance that we saw. I mean, at times they looked like world beaters, didn't they, in that game? Like the Adeyemi's performance was just out of this world, really, at times. But then, as you say, just snatching a draw from the jaws of victory, basically, really, didn't they? I mean, it was well into the stoppages before they even got one back, and then to concede another, it is tough when you're coming up against the best teams in Europe, but it happens too often for them. And it's the second time it's happened this season already. Let's not forget at St Pauli, it was a similar kind of situation earlier in the season. So there's still doubts about their kind of ability to see through a game, especially away from home. I think at home, they never seem to have the same problems, do they? They tend to be quite reliable, especially in the Bundesliga and also in Europe at home, to see out games. And I think they'll do that again here. I think Wolfsburg are looking improved, but this is a big test. That, as I said on the show on Monday, they failed to win those 2 games that they should have won ultimately against Mainz and Koeln. And now they're coming up with a difficult game away in Dortmund. They'll enjoy the challenge because I think they're playing good attacking football at the moment. They're scoring goals from different angles, crosses, open play. They've got the likes of Lovro Meyer playing well again. I think Amura, it seems relatively settled again now, which is going to be a massive bonus to them. But I think Dortmund will get a 3-1 win in this game. I just feel as though at home, Guirassy seems almost guaranteed at least a goal or a brace in pretty much every home game, doesn't he, these days? So, I do think that Dortmund will have enough to continue their solid, I would say, pretty above average start, really, when all things considered this season. So, there you go. You have our 9 predictions for the season. So get your bets on this weekend. As I said before at the start of the season, if you enjoyed what you've seen, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. We're not only a YouTube channel, we're also a podcast as well. So don't forget to check out Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So thank you very much. We hope you've enjoyed the double header this Thursday evening. We will be back again on Monday for the review of Matchweek 4, but enjoy the football this weekend. Some great matches coming up for you. Enjoy the rest of your Champions League night as well. And we'll see you again on Monday, the other side. So see you then, guys. Ciao, ciao.